Vroom!
Zoom.
Welcome back to convincing Julia she should play Hades on the Switch because it is so fun.
No, Maddie, this is an F1 podcast. Also, you know I don't have a Switch. Hello, we are 17 to 1. My name is Julia, and I know a lot about F1,
My name is Maddie, and I know very little about F1.
but she's learning more and more every week. And next week, we are going to, and you know the answer to this. So, where are we going, Maddie?
To Korea!
No.
To Prediction Land. Oh, to Bahrain. Bahrain.
The drivers are going to Bahrain, not us. We
Unfortunately.
don't have that kind of money, but the drivers. So, as they prepare to hit the streets in the Middle East, Maddie and I are going to go over what our predictions from last week were, how much we screwed over the drivers, and what we think will happen next week. That definitely won't come true.
I don't know about you, but I again had the right people, wrong placements. So I do not know what you are talking about. I'm
That's fair.
killing. I'm not screwing anyone over.
So, to explain, Maddie, who did you predict was going to win last weekend?
I predicted an Oscar P1, a Max P2, and I knew it was possibly a long shot, but I still predicted a Yuki P3.
And how did that work out for you?
It worked out semi wonderful, I suppose. Again, like I said, right people, wrong placement, minus Yuki. Max ended up being P1 instead, and then Oscar ended up being P3, which he could have possibly been P2 if McLaren chose a different strategy. And then Yuki ended up being P12.
12.
P12. So, woo! He moved up 2 places. Let's go. Good debut. Good enough debut in Red Bull for me. I don't think I cursed him. I just think that is the way it goes. Yuki has, even in Racing Bull, shown that he is just kind of middle of the pack. I do hope he will be able to break away from that and really show what he is made of. But I'm proud of that. Julia, on the other hand, please enlighten all of us. How did your predictions, what were your predictions, and how did they go?
You know, I got one person on the podium, but wrong spot. So I originally predicted a Lando P1, a Lewis Hamilton P2, and a George Russell P3. Lando Norris did end up on the podium, but it was in P2, not P1. And Lewis Hamilton, the last time I predicted he would win a race, he was disqualified. So I consider this to be a step up, but he was potentially still jinxed because he was all the way down in P7 and had a really rough go of it this weekend. George Russell was P5, doing the George Russell thing, which is just kind of hanging out and hoping for somebody in front of him to DNF, which I respect. But it didn't work out for him this time. So he was not on the podium, which means my predictions are still, I think, 0 for 0.
We still love you anyway.
Thank you. So looking ahead to Bahrain, we know that the drivers are going to be headed there. I think most of them are already there by the time of filming. By the time of posting, they will probably already have partaken in free practice 1. It is going to be hot, hot, hot during the day for my fellow Americans. That is around 96, 95, 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes. Luckily, this is an evening race, so by the time they're racing, it will be cooling down a bit. I don't know exactly how much it will cool down, but the projected nighttime temperatures are closer to 75 to 80. So it will be significantly cooler in the evening as they go around the track. We also know that they did their preseason testing at Bahrain. And when they did their preseason testing, it was very unusual weather for Bahrain. It was cold and it was rainy. So, in those conditions are not going to be super representative of what we see on the track this weekend, especially during the practices, etc., that are a bit earlier in the day. But we do know that during testing, the McLarens were very, very, very strong at Bahrain. And the Ferraris, I think, also looked pretty decent with a couple of other kerfuffles. So it is, I think, going to be interesting to see how they do. So, with that in mind, we are going to start our predictions. Maddie, rapid fire. First name that comes to your head.
Lando Norris.
P1,
Oh,
P2,
Oscar Piastri.
P3.
Max Verstappen.
Amazing. Not the, I was going to say the ideal podium, but I really meant the ideal trio, not the ideal podium.
Listen, it is not the ideal podium for me. Obviously, the ideal podium is a Max P1, an Oscar P2, and a Lando P3. But with how strong McLaren has been within these first races, both of them have well, no, minus the Australian race. They have podiumed, as well as had that slip up with the rain not happened, Oscar would have podiumed because he's been doing great with qualifying. They've been like laying it on pretty well. McLaren has just, I don't know what they gave them, what they put in those spring rolls, or what they put in Hattie's K-pop music that she probably blasts in the car for Oscar. They are killing it. So I stand by my Oscar P1, my Lando P1, my Oscar P2, and my Max P3, which hurts me to say because Avi, I want Max P1. I should have said Max P1. I wonder why I didn't.
Don't want to jinx him.
But I want to be right. I like being right.
That's also very fair. I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm never right. So all I can do now is try and be as wrong as possible.
Is that what we're going into with your predictions as a P1 podium? Give it to me, no thinking 5.
Yes. Sorry, are you counting me down? Lando, P1.
Yeah, I was counting down. I did not move into that as smoothly as I thought I did. Give me your P2.
Charles.
You're just out here killing the Ferraris.
I
P3.
really don't mean to. That's my optimistic guess every week, is I just really want a Ferrari on the podium.
But you haven't been seeing the signs.
I know, which means I should probably stop saying them because I probably am cursing them instead.
All right, so we got a P2, Charles. Who is your P3?
P3.
Too much thinking. Give me P3 now.
Kimmy.
Ooh, okay. I could genuinely see a Kimmy P3 with how well he has been doing.
Let's get a Kimmy P3. Let's get him to be, if he gets a P3, he will become the second youngest podium sitter in F1 history. He's missed his window to become the youngest, but he still has one more race, I believe, to become the second youngest.
And remember, folks, this kid is only 18 and still doing high school exams.
Crazy.
That hurts me a lot. That hurt
Honestly, same. To be so young and successful.
Hopefully he doesn't fail his exams.
I really don't think it matters if he does.
So fair.
Kid's gonna be fine.
yeah, FIA isn't suddenly gonna give him you can race on a conditional that you graduate high school.
I think half the grid would be out.
Ooh. It's okay. They're all good looking and they're great at their job ish.
And rich.
They got money. they got money.
They're gonna be just fine.
Lance has been doing very well, but Lance went back to being Lance during Suzuka.
Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Well, those are our predictions for next week. Stay tuned and see how good or how poorly we did. Every week, I believe, is going to be our week. Maybe this week it will be our week.
It's not anymore with what you just said.
Drop your own predictions down below. This has been 17-1. Hi.